Okay, so I know I'm live. It's not very professional today. I'm just doing it from my home because things were a little crazy this week. So I'm going to share this really quickly. And I'm just through the microphone. I don't have any of my lights, so the lighting's not the greatest. I don't have any of my microphones or anything like that. So it is going to be a little hit and miss today, but that's okay. Let me share this link really quickly. I'm not even starting the time I said I would. Hey, it's Thanksgiving week, right? It's going to be a little crazy. I'm off my schedule. I'm off teaching. We had like 1 million birthdays in the last week. Not 1 million, but 3. So I was just looking at my memories. When I went to go share this on Facebook, my memories came up from 2 years ago when Hannah was born, and I was right in the middle of the horrendous time trying to feed her. So that memory came up. So this is a good topic because we're talking about combating the winter blues is what we're talking about today. So, and hopefully my internet keeps up. My internet is good enough for Zoom piano lessons. So we'll see if it's good enough for a live stream. It might be a little hit and miss. So if it starts buffering, just let me know. If it starts buffering, there's not really much I can do about it. We'll just kind of have to wait it out and see what happens if I can get through an entire live stream. I probably won't go very long today. I know a lot of you are getting ready for, Thanksgiving tomorrow. So happy Thanksgiving. I wanted to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving. We are going to my in-laws. I am a blessed woman. I've never really I have done full Thanksgiving meals before, but not on Thanksgiving Day. We go to my mother-in-law's every year. So she does a royal feast there every year. And Abigail's actually there helping her right now. She likes helping her. They make homemade caramels. They make homemade stuffing. They make homemade everything, homemade noodles. They make homemade noodles. There's a big feast that she does every year. So I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. So I hope you all will have a great Thanksgiving. I didn't even pull up my outline that I'm going to do. Just a minute. Let me pull up my outline. It's not really even that much of an outline. We just, this is all about, we had a Bible study last week for the first time at our church, and a few of us ladies went, and we were specifically talking about this subject, about the winter blues that are coming up here in Illinois. And go ahead and leave a comment if you ladies are listening. Let me know that you can hear me. Everything's good on my end. It's not buffering. Just let me know how it goes. In fact, I did not even check the audio settings. Let me check. It could be a little louder. So we'll turn that up a little bit. There we go. So let me know if that is good. Everything looks to be working at my end. Now I just got to find my outline that I did. Let me look up Bible study outline. Yes, here I found it. Okay. So here in Illinois, and when going into, hey, Sarah, good. Going into the winter season in Illinois, it can be very depressing. I am doing better this year than I have in past because I am not pregnant or nursing or postpartum at the moment. It seems like almost every year since I've been married, I have been though. Either pregnant, either have postpartum. I've had almost all of my babies in the winter. In fact, we have November, then January, February, March, April, and May. So we have all those birthdays. So May is the latest month that I have had them. I would say that my postpartum with her was probably the best. And I really think going into summer had something to do with that. But all of us ladies, if we are in the middle of childbearing years, we will be having a lot of dark winters, not dark winters in the fact that we haven't gotten our jabs, as Fauci would like to claim. Dark winters in the fact that we're dealing with hormones, we're dealing with emotions. And here in Illinois, it gets dark at 4:30. So we probably only have daylight from about 6:30 to 4:30. And by 4:30, it's dark. It's a little depressing. Now, some people love it and embrace it. Maybe the ones that aren't having kids are in the middle of that, because it means Christmas lights, Christmas lights. We get to go around and look at the Christmas lights. It means hot chocolate and bundling up and staying in. The nice thing about Illinois is it does kind of give us a break. We don't live in a state where it's hot all year round. So we do have to just chill, literally. We have to just settle down, hunker down, especially if we have 5 feet of snow outside, which that's happened before. We just have to kind of hibernate for a little bit. So it does give us time to just kind of rejuvenate, and we're not go, 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 go all year long. So hi, Beth. Hi, Julia. Hi, Haley. If that's how you say your name, Haley, I'm assuming. But we did a little Bible study, and a lot of the ladies had a lot of good verses. And I'm kind of going to I'm going to look them up and then try to post them in the chat as I'm doing it, if Beth doesn't beat me. But the first thing that I started out with is just remembering that to everything there is a season. And we have different seasons in our life metaphorically, different times that we go through good times, we go through bad times, we go through serious times, we go through lighthearted times, we go through them metaphorically, we go through them spiritually, we go through them physically. Sometimes we're very healthy, sometimes we're not, sometimes we're very sick. We've been through a season in our church and our home where a lot of colds have been going around. So for the last week or two, we've been battling colds in our house. It seems like everyone, when you have a big family, it's like that meme or GIF or whatever it was, or reel that I saw Julia share. I like reshared it because it's like when you realize that one of your kids is sick, so you're going to be sick until March, because that's just how it goes in a big family. When someone gets it, everyone gets it. Colds are inevitable, sickness is inevitable, and so is the changing of the seasons. And we know this because the Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, 1 through 8, it says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Thank you, Beth. I knew you would get to it before I could. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 through 8. So the Bible specifically tells us that there is a season and a time for everything. And I love these verses because, like I was saying in our ladies' Bible study, it shows that the Bible does not contradict itself. The author is saying here, which we knew was Solomon, that there is a season for everything. And sometimes, you break down things. Sometimes you build up. Sometimes you weep. Sometimes you laugh. Sometimes you mourn, and sometimes you dance. So the Bible never contradicts itself. And that's where relying on the Holy Spirit to kind of walking in the Spirit to dictate our life and our path and just our actions and to guide us through life, relying on the Holy Spirit is so important when it comes to knowing what to do and when to do it, basically. So hello, Ashley, and hello, Angeli. Yes. And no, Joy, I am not blue. I'm actually in a very good state with my emotions right now. And I think it's just because I'm finally out of postpartum. I'm not pregnant. I have Hannah just turned 2 last Friday. So I am it takes me a long time. It takes about a year, sometimes a year and a half for my emotions to really level off after having a baby. And then for a lot of you, you know how it is. Your emotions finally start leveling off and you get pregnant again. So then you're right back into the cycle of things. So being pregnant and giving birth and nursing, it is not for the faint of heart. And it is a very wearing time. And I hope that your husbands realize this. They can't ever fully realize it because they've never been through it. But I do hope that you're married to understanding men who will kind of pick up the slack when you can't, when you're down for the count with sickness or trying to figure out nursing or all those things. So that's just for free. I'm just throwing that in there on the off chance that someone might be watching that's newly married or something. I've heard couples watch this before, which is kind of weird to me, but that's okay. I'm just throwing that out there. There's a lot that us as women through, and the Bible really does have a lot of verses about it. And we're kind of delving into that lately. So, oh, thanks, Angeli. I think my diet is helping too. I have changed my diet over the last month. I have been doing Trim Healthy Mama, and that is a totally different subject for another day. Where I'm not losing much weight. It's taken me forever. I'm a turtle loser. I've been doing it a month now, ever since we came back from Florida, and I have only lost 4 pounds, but I'm telling a difference in my face, the way it looks. I'm telling a difference in the way my clothes fit. So just for that reason alone, I'm going to do it. My goal is a year. I told myself, and this is what works for me. It does not work for me results because it's too depressing. So what I do is I just pick a time frame, and I know I can stick to that. And this diet is very, very workable. It's one of the only diets that I can do that's not really a diet, because you can find something no matter where you go to eat. I stuck on it pretty well when I was with Abby for her little getaway for her 18th birthday this week. I did eat at Panera. We went to Panera Bread, and I half of a sandwich, and that was bread. And I hadn't had real bread in a month. So that was a little bit off, but it was still healthy. It was, the soup and this turkey sandwich or whatever it is. And I'm going to be kind of all over today because I don't really have much of an outline, or I'm just kind of throwing out topics as you guys leave comments. So that's fine. It's just kind of a little Thanksgiving special, I guess. But yeah, we might talk about that later. Maybe after a year, when I've done it a full year and I really have a handle on it and I can see improvements, I might kind of go over what I'm doing. I don't want to do that just a month into it, but it is very healthy and it is sustainable. And I've also been making these drinks called Singing Canaries, and they have a ton of vitamin C in it, which I think has helped keep me healthy. I'm one of the only ones who haven't gotten the cold that's going around. Because you put 2,000 milligrams of vitamin C in each drink, and I've been drinking about 2 a day. So I'm getting at least 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C that way. And it has lots of turmeric and also fresh squeezed lemon juice in it. And then it's got whey protein and collagen. And I think the collagen and all that stuff really helps with the skin. I've noticed my skin is cleared up. So I feel better overall. And I think that has more benefits than even losing the weight, because I need to feel good when I'm as busy I am raising all these kids and everything that I have on my plate. So I like it for that benefit alone. I really, really like this plan. So Angela, I knew you'd be interested in it. When I go out to eat, it's pretty much low carb, but you do have some carbs that you can eat, like oatmeal, quinoa, stuff like that, but you separate your carbs and fats, basically, is what Trim Healthy Mama is. So when I go out to eat, I just get a burger, no bun, and then a side salad, and then just water or a diet drink, or you can bring your own. I drink carbonated water a lot, or carbonated flavored water without sugar. So that's another thing too. I have no sugar cravings anymore. It's completely cut off my need for sugar. So that I love, because I know I used to be addicted to sugar. Every day at 3, I would need a soda, or I would need a sugary coffee drink. So now I drink my coffee with just nut pods and stevia if I need it. I've switched over completely to stevia, and I really feel good. Completely cut out my cravings, which I absolutely, absolutely love. Yes, Singing Canary is very good for your thyroid, which is another reason I'm trying to shrink my nodules. So that is another reason that I drink it. So back to the Bible. Sorry for that little Trim Healthy Mama commercial. But yeah, we were talking about seasons. Just realize that life will have seasons. And I hope that your husband can realize that you'll be going through different seasons in life too. And honestly, our husbands are the ones who also help create a living being. So because of this, they do have more responsibility, and we are the weaker vessel. And my husband did a really good show about misogyny, and he was basically talking about, and people are like already taking clips and trying to twist his words into making him say that he thinks that women are like weak. But the Bible talks about how women are the weaker vessel. So what he was saying in his show was basically women are the weaker vessel. Because of this, men have to step up their game. Men need to take care of their women. Men need to be the physical providers. Men need to take care of their wife's physical needs, provide for her, care for her, watch out for her emotional needs, different things like that. So, and I totally agree. So that's just for free out there. But Daniel 2:21 says, and he changeth the time and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. So that was Daniel 2:21. I'm going to look this up. To Daniel 2:21. Beth is probably going to beat me, but I'll just try to do this. All right, I'm just going to copy and paste these real quick and stick them in there. All right, so there's that one. And then also we have Psalms 104:19. Psalms 104:19. Now, I never trim my verses. 104:19. I never trim my verses. This is what I get for trying to multitask. I never trim any of my videos. So if you are watching and you want to know the verses or you want to just write them down, they will be in the live chat. So either I will put it or Beth will put it. She's great about doing that as we're going along here. So those are verses about seasons. And then I like Isaiah chapter 55 too, because he talks a lot about different seasons and also the snow. For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth and maketh it bring forth and bread, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So he's just acknowledging that rain comes down, also snow from heaven. And I just like those verses because it kind of shows that God is in control of the seasons. And as much as we can complain about it, everything God has planned and ordained, and he's the one who turns the seasons. And because of that, I happen to, as far as the coldness, I don't mind it. I'm pretty warm-blooded. I'm hot all the time, even when it was 40, 45 yesterday, and I was going everywhere without a coat. It's just great. I don't usually need a coat until it's about 0 degrees here in Illinois. Other than that, I'm running because you go from warm building to warm building, so it's not really that big of a deal. But also realize that thank you, Beth. Also realize that when you know that winter is coming, it's always good to prepare. And that's why it's good to get into the Bible, get some verses ready. You can even write them out, post them if you have a hard time. I've posted them like when I get ready. I'll post them on my bathroom mirror so I can see them and meditate on them as I get ready. I'll have the Bible play as I'm driving places so I can hear just the Bible playing. And 0 degrees, I think we're Celsius here. Or no, yeah, we're Fahrenheit. Yeah, 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, it gets down to 0. Right now it's 48, which just feels amazing. But yeah, here in Illinois, we had I have a really cool video on my Cassie McMurtry channel. When my son he threw boiling water over him, and it was so cold that it freezes. Like as soon as he flung it, it froze. So that's a really cool video. And it was when we had a winter chill come through, and it was negative something or other. It was really cold. It gets cold here in Illinois, so pray for my chickens. Because they're out in a barn. They don't really, I hope they all survive. So thank you, Beth. But yeah, I always try to prepare, and that can be mentally. I try to prepare myself mentally. Okay, I know this is coming. I know winter lasts like 5 months. I know it's going to be cold. I know. So I try to prepare myself mentally. I also try to prepare even just physically. Here I switch over the clothes a lot. So I will put in my closet, I will put my summer clothes in the bottom rack, and then I'll move all my winter clothes up so that I'm prepared. I'm trying to have boots for the kids, gloves, hats, mittens, all that stuff. There's verses in Proverbs that talks about um, how she, in Proverbs 31, verse 21, she is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. So that just shows that the Proverbs 31 woman also prepared. She prepared for the snow, she prepared for the cold, and she had enough clothes that were ready. She made, for us, that's making sure winter coats fit. I know those of you in warmer climates, you're like, what in the world? We just wear flip-flops the whole year. But those of us in cold climates, this is necessary. So making sure that they have the proper leggings for my girls. They wear leggings under their skirts all winter, because that's imperative, because when you're in, -5 degrees, your legs can freeze, your skin, any exposed skin can freeze very quickly. So I'm prepared. I make sure they all have enough leggings, they all have enough warm socks, they all have enough boots. And then I plan accordingly and check thrift stores. You can get leggings really cheap at thrift stores. Don't pay full price for leggings, because they will go through them quickly. They will get holes in them. So I get almost all our leggings from Goodwill, and they usually have them for 99 cents, $1.99. LuLaRoe has the softest, warmest leggings there are, but they're expensive. But someone just dropped off, and I'm actually wearing one of the skirts I got. Someone dropped off brand new LuLaRoe stuff to our Goodwill, and they had skirts. They dropped in a ton of leggings, and these leggings are normally like $15 a pair or something, and they were only marked $1.99, and that's cheaper than Walmart, and they were brand new with the tag. So definitely try to snag good deals like that. But I prepare to all my kids' clothes and different things like that. I prepare mentally. Proverbs 6:6-8 says, "Go to the ant, thou consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest." And I'm going to throw out a lot of verses here really quickly. These are verses that I focused more on just the logical aspect of winter coming, preparing, with all the clothing. And some of my friends focused more on when you're going through the winter blues, verses to help you through those. And I wrote a bunch down. I don't really know what they are. So I am going to just read them off quickly. Okay. So here we have, I'm going to look it up real quick and then post it as I do it. Psalms 139, 7-12. And then let's see, that is really pretty because it talks just about how, I don't know if all this will fit. I'm going to do half of it and see if it fits. It talks about no matter where you're at, God is there. And nope, it didn't all fit. Let's go to verse 8. Still not fit. Let's take this from the King James Version. And this is Psalms 139. And it says 7, that's supposed to be 7-12. But it says, "Whither shall I go from thy spirit, or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there." And then it says, "If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yea, the darkness hideth not from thee, but the night shineth as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to thee." So it's basically just saying, hi, Kaylin, wherever, and it does not allow you to do very many. Wherever you are, God is going to be there. And that's very comforting because, that's very comforting to us as Christians, because sometimes you do feel like you're all alone. And sometimes you wonder, God, can you even hear me? God, do you even see me? And the Bible says that he does. The Bible tells us that he sees where we are and he's there. So there's those are both alike to thee. So I just have to write those on. Are both alike to thee. Hey, Amanda, good to see you. So I really like those verses. That was one of the ones that Sarah really liked because it just shows that God is always there for us. Thank you. There's the other verse I read about preparing. And then also Psalms 30, verse 11. Let's look that one up. And you ladies can be writing these down with me too as we're doing it. Like I said, if it helps to have them written down on cards, then definitely do that. And then Psalms 30, verse 11 says, thou hast turned for me my mourning into dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness. So that is another, there's so many verses. I felt like I was just writing down Psalms. There's so many good verses in Psalms because David was a man, and I told Sarah this, David was a man who he went through a lot of hard times. He went through dark valleys, and he was always crying out to the Lord, asking him to please save me, all these things. So he really knew he was always in the depths of despair. He was either on top of the mountain or the depths of despair, it seemed like. And so a lot of Psalms is just full of verses, crying out to the Lord, Psalm 61:2. Some of these Abigail threw out there that really helped her. And it's really neat when you get together with women and you just kind of pick their brains and you see what verses help them. For me, this one right here, Psalm 61:2 is one of my absolute favorite verses. I think this is a beautiful verse that someone should write a song to. And it's from the end of the earth will I cry unto thee. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock that is higher than I. And I'm sorry, Kaylin, this is a season in your life where you're having loneliness. And, it's hard when you're going through those because, like I said, sometimes you wonder, is God there? Can God hear me? But be assured, the Bible's full of verses. He does hear you. And there's one verse that's always helped me. I don't have it in my notes, but basically talking about God bottling up our tears. So to me, that just shows that he does notice when you're crying. He does notice you're weeping. He does notice, and he reserves those and bottles those. It shows that he cares to me. And then Psalms. These are all, like I said before, these are all verses to kind of help when you are in times of distress. Let's read the full chapter here. Psalms 37, 3-5. Trust in the Lord and do good. Shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And I was telling the ladies, one of my husband's favorite verses was, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. That was one of his favorite verses. And that's one of the ones that kind of convinced him to go after me. He already liked me at that point. And he was like, why am I not, why am I not going after her? And the Lord brought that verse to his mind, and he decided to go after me. After he read, delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. And I'm glad he did. And then verse 5, I like this one, verse 5 too, because it's telling us, if we do this, he will do this. If we commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. So it's not, there are contingencies on it, and a lot of things in the Bible there is, honor thy father and thy mother, and so shall belong with thee, verses like that. You do this and I'll do this. So God's saying, commit yourself unto me and he'll bring it to pass, do this, and this is going to happen. So I would definitely not expect to be living a horribly, godless, just crazy life out there and then still expect God to bless you in ways such as just having internal peace or even just financial security or all these things. We're always going to go through times of trouble and times of hurt and times of financial whatever, but it's a lot better for us internally and just for our own good, knowing that we are in the will of God, knowing there aren't any areas where we're in rebellion, because God has promised us, if you do this, I'm going to do this, which I really like. And then I don't know if I put it down. Psalms. Yeah, I think I did. That's a good verse too, Angeli. She said Psalms 23:3, he restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And he restoreth my soul. Even that part. Yeah, if you think about it, what does being restored mean? When you think of being restored, my soul was restored. So obviously we can go through times where our soul is lacking, or maybe our soul is in depression, or our soul isn't what it needs to be. But God restores that, and he leads us in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And Psalms is just, like I said, Psalms is full of beautiful verses of comfort. I find myself, if I'm going through any hard time in my life, turning to Psalms automatically. I truly believe that book was written for us women to just really, it was written. I mean, the whole Bible was written to help us, obviously, but those, especially Psalms, I feel like it was written to help through times of depression and times of anxiety and times of trouble and all those different times. It was definitely written. But I would even prepare for hormonal changes. I would prepare for those. And then for me personally, just knowing that I'm going to have a harder time hormonally. I had mentioned this in the proper feeding and care of husbands, where Dr. Laura was talking about, she had a letter included in there. And the lady was talking about one of the things that helped her marriage was just charting her cycle and knowing when things were going to be difficult for her. And when she realized that things were going to be difficult at that time, she would be more careful about what she said. She would be very selective of her words, and she would just zip it rather than just let everything spew forth. Because as women, there can be no explanation for how we feel. It's our hormones going crazy. So we have to be very careful to not let our hormones dictate how we speak or how we act, how we treat other people. So I think this is this Proverbs? This sounds more like Proverbs. I did not write down the correct book. Let me look this up really quickly. But this spoke to me, Proverbs. Oh, but then I didn't put okay, well, these are the verses. I don't know where they are. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters. So let me look that up. The words of a man's mouth, deep waters, KJV, and that should come up. Proverbs 18. Okay, so Proverbs 18, verse 4. The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. A fool's lips entereth into contention, and his mouth calleth for strokes. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. So whoever came up with sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me, never read Proverbs, because Proverbs is full of verses about words. And this even says the words of a talebearer are as wounds. So that shows you right there that hurts. It hurts really badly. And they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. Have you ever gotten that bad gut feeling? Whether it comes to just a situation going on in your life, whether it comes to when you hear what people have been saying about you, it does hurt. And it does. I mean, the Bible says it goes down into the innermost parts of the belly. So a lot of problems seem to be connected to your stomach when you're going through things. And I find that interesting. So I'm going to copy this real quickly and put this in there. If you guys have any other, oh, thank you. You already wrote it. Thank you. You beat me that time. If you have any other verses that have really, really helped you, please put them down. And I know Beth put Psalm 24, 4-5. Show me thy ways, O Lord, teach me thy paths. Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. That's beautiful. There's so many beautiful verses in Psalms. We could sit here and write out the whole book of Psalms. We'd be here all day into Thanksgiving, but it is full of beautiful, beautiful verses. And then there's some more verses about words in Proverbs 30, verse 32. Proverbs 30, verse 32, it says, if thou hast done foolishly and lifting, or if thou hast thought evil, lay thine hand upon thy mouth. Surely the churning of milk bringeth forth butter, and the nose bringeth forth blood. So the forcing of wrath bringeth forth strife. More verses about just being careful what you say. Lay your hand on your mouth. He's literally physically saying, lay your hand on your mouth if you have this problem. And then Proverbs 10:19, in the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. Very good verse. Psalms 141, verse 3, set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth, keep the door of my lips. So over and over and over again, we see in the Bible how important it is just to watch our mouth. I think that probably 90% of problems in life would go away as far as relationships. 95% of relationship problems would go away if we would just control our mouth, control our tongue. And then James 1:19, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. And then Matthew 15:11, not which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man. So I put down those verses because it's just showing you the importance of your words and how you be careful. And I feel like when we get down, when we get depressed and where we're going through times, we're so focused on ourselves and our world is so small. It just has us in it that we don't even tend to look out and look at the problems of other people and realize that other people are going through things too. And I've often heard it said, when you're out in public and you're interacting with people, just remember you don't know what someone's going through and just be kind. So just be kind to people. And I think that the majority also of our problems, whether it comes to learning to deal with winter, learning to deal with coldness, learning to deal with it getting dark early, you can also prepare for it in your home by setting out more lights. I like a lot of light. I have a lot of light in here. I have that lamp back there. I have 2 overhead lamps. I have a lamp over here. I have a lamp over here. So I always have them on. I know it drives my kids nuts sometimes, but we have to have lots of light because light just helps me. And there are even seasonal lamps that you can get that will help with that. Even my chickens, I put a lamp up in their coop because they don't get as much light, and it will affect chickens if they don't get as much light. So I have a light out there for them. It's just a red light to kind of help. We let them free range as much as possible, but we put a lamp out there as too to kind of help them in the winter months because we need light as human beings. So you can prepare for it that way too. But I do feel like I've noticed a lot of people, they want to blame their unhappiness on maybe just how cold Illinois is, or we get lots of snow. But then they move to a warmer climate and they will move to a warmer climate and they still have the same problems. They still have the same marriage problems. They still have the same family problems. They still have the financial problems. It's not the weather that controls or dictates your contentment. It's your heart. And so there are people that live in Siberia that have chosen to be happy. So happiness does not come from a set of circumstances. Happiness comes from the state of your heart and what you have decided. You can decide to be content and happy. And so I also think that contentment is a huge part. And then in 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6, it says, but godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us there be with content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. But thou, O man of God, see these things, and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, and meekness. You can follow after all of those things, righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness, whether it's 90 degrees out or whether it's 0 degrees out. So it just shows that it is a matter of the heart, and you have to choose contentment. And then Psalms 37 says, trust in the Lord, Psalms 37, verse 3, trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And then Isaiah 23, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. And I like how it says, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace. So we're going to have peace in our soul, whose mind is stayed on thee. So we have to make a conscious effort to keep our mind stayed on the Lord. And I really think that's what's important when you're going through anything in life, when you're getting ready to go through the winter, when you know it's coming, when you know it's going to be dark, just learn to enjoy the little blessings that come with that. Learn to enjoy the slower paced life for a few months. Learn to enjoy that it gets dark and your kids won't fight going to bed at 7 because it's been dark for 2 hours. That's one of the perks, especially if you have younger kids. Learn to just enjoy the stillness of it all, and learn to enjoy cuddling up under a warm blanket and watching Christmas movies with hot cocoa. There's a lot of perks to it, to being in Illinois. And those are the things that I try to focus on rather than, focusing on shoveling snow in 2-degree weather, or your car getting stuck or going into the ditch, or, those things are going to come too, and you'll have to work through those. But that's just the way that I choose to look at it. I do like winter for the most part when I'm not pregnant or nursing, but it can be a little bit more difficult when you are postpartum, when you're having those babies. 2 years ago was probably one of the hardest times I've ever had. It was the hardest time, hands down, postpartum. It was the hardest time I ever had nursing a child. It was the hardest time mentally, not physically. I actually recovered pretty quickly physically from having her, and I use those situations to kind of help me help other women. And just, at the end of the day, it comes to just getting through it. Sometimes I get asked all the time, how did you do this? And how did you do this? And how did you do this? Is there any way I can make it easier? Sometimes there's just not a way to make it easier. You just have to get through it. And that's why when I was younger, I developed the mentality of one day at a time. I just have to get through this one day at a time. And 2 years ago, when I was going through that, I kept panicking, thinking about, because I usually nurse a year, a year and a half. And I'm thinking, I am going to have to go through this for the next year. I can't think that way. So I have to just take it day by day. And I've learned to do that. So I try to use the instances in my life to help me grow and to help others grow, and just encourage you. Sometimes you just have to get through it, and you will get through it. You will. This is, I'm out of it now, 2 years over the hump. So you will get through it, and you'll be an encouragement eventually to women that have been through it. So yes, Kathleen, it can get down. I think about the coldest it gets in Illinois when we have a winter chill come through, -15. So yeah, -15, maybe. I know I was just saying earlier that even when it's about 0 degrees, when I finally feel like I need it, but over 20, I just run here and there and everywhere without a coat or mittens or anything, because it just doesn't really faze me. So, and then okay, thank you. Thank you, Beth. You went ahead and wrote down all the verses. I knew you would, as long as I kept talking. Hi, Joyce. And if you have any verses that have helped you, please leave them down. Obviously, one of my ultimate favorite is the verse that this whole channel is based off of. And that is where it says he will gently lead those. Let me look it up so I get it exactly right. Isaiah 40, verse 11. He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arm and carry them in his bosom, and shall gently lead those that are with young. And that is the whole premise of this channel. God does see, God does care. He knows when you're going through hard times. And so what you need to do is you just need to focus on getting through each day and keeping your kids alive. And if the house gets a little messy, that's okay. The nice thing about it being so cold in Illinois in the winter is we do tend to keep up with the housework more, because you have to slow down. You're not running to as many places. There's not as many outside activities that you can do. So more on the inside gets taken care of, and you can focus more on the inside tasks. So there are perks and benefits to every season. I love fall. It's my ultimate favorite, hands down, because it's still nice out for activities. It's still, it's lighter until about October, middle of October, November. Then it starts getting dark early, especially when we have daylight savings time. Fall is my favorite, but then you've got winter, and there are perks to winter. So try to focus more on the perks rather than the downsides. Spring, there are perks such as, it starts warming up. You've got green everywhere, but then there's downsides like all the mud everywhere, especially if you live in the country like we do, just mud everywhere. Summer, there are wonderful because we have had activities and you get to go swimming, and, there's everything outside to do. So that's great. But it's also a very tiring time because you're go, 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 go all the time. So just embrace each season as it comes and try to really dig into your Bible. I would suggest doing a Bible study. Maybe look up words about peace and see all the Bible verses relating to just having peace in your own life and what it tells. And a lot of times I've noticed in the Bible when it talks about the word peace, it is after verses like remaining focused on Christ, or our mind is stayed on him. And so if we do that, if we keep Christ our focus, we will obviously have more peace in our life as it goes. So Jan Boozle said, firsthand experience from Pennsylvania and turn Florida. If you're doing all of the above, still need help, and a Southern home fits your life, yes, it does help tremendously. So she likes her Southern home. I just have a heart for Illinois. I was born and raised in Illinois, and I know I have, you hear it all the time, just move. Well, not everyone can just move, for one. And two, Illinois needs good churches. Illinois needs good Baptist churches here. Illinois needs things, to help as well. So I don't want to just abandon ship and leave everyone in Illinois. So for me, it's just a matter of, I've learned to whatever state I am. I haven't learned this totally. I'm trying to. I'm a work in progress. I think we all are. But whatever state I am there, what to be content. And state, literally. Illinois is one of the top 3 worst states. But that doesn't bother me, because I know that, we need good Baptist Christians in Illinois as well. So it doesn't discourage me. I mean, it gets a little frustrating sometimes. Illinois is mainly bad because of Chicago. I'm going to blame Chicago for most of our problems. But it needs good people too. We can't just all abandon ship. And some of us have roots here, and some of us have just learned ways to cope with the winter that comes, and, bundling up. Like I said, with my girls, leggings are a must when the cold underneath their skirts. So yeah. And like Beth said earlier, you'll find that it's really not that cold wearing skirts, because I get the comments all the time. Like I'll be at a gas station pumping gas, and literally random people will be like, why are you wearing a skirt? It's 5 degrees out. But it's really warm when you have a really thick skirt over wool leggings. That's extremely warm. So I'm probably actually a little warmer than women who are just in jeans, say, or women who are just in leggings. So I'm actually probably a little more warm because you have layers and different things like that. So, and then Psalms 91. Yes, I agree. Psalms 91 is very good. Very good Psalm when Kathleen said when she's used when struggling, just praising God too for when overwhelmed. And then put on the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, Psalm 61, verse 3. Yes, I agree. Psalms is just great for everything. So those are my practical tips. If you have any other tips, leave them down below or leave other verses to help combat the winter blues, unless you're in Florida or Arizona and the sun is out all year round and it's warm and there's butterflies and sunshine and roses. Good for you. But there's a lot of us who live in cold climates, so we need the extra help. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We all have much to be thankful for, even living in Biden's 2022 America. We have much to be thankful for. Thank God for all the blessings that he's given you. And I know tomorrow marks my ultimate favorite holiday. I love Thanksgiving. I love that you get the family time without all the gifts attached. So it's just a time to gather with your family and be thankful. Remember to wake up and bless God, or thank God for all the blessings that he has given to you in your life. And it looks like the stream kept up. So I'm glad for that. So we will see you ladies next week. And yes, Psalms 40:31 is another. Oh, isn't that Isaiah 40? I think that's Isaiah 40:31. The verse about waiting on the Lord. So, but we will go ahead and shut it down, and I will see you next week. I'll come up with the topic a little bit later, but it'll be next Monday, regular time as normal. Sorry for switching it around so much. We just had a lot of birthdays and, holiday stuff and all that. So hope you all happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next Monday at the same time, 3 p.m. Central.